Ah, good afternoon. Good afternoon. Enjoy your Pepsi. Keeps you sexy. I am drinking the most delicious drinks of fruits and vegetables these days. So good for the health. Yes, darling. I'd rather be eating ribs. Anyway, today I want to talk about loss. Seems that the topic of conversation, loss, came up a lot today, and I want to talk about that. I don't know if it's because my father meant, there was an understanding. Not that I loved him more, but I understand his wisdom in his old age and his death, and his words and advice came through. So, I don't know why is it that somebody or other people talk about loss. Do you miss him? Do you lost him? Not in particular. That's gone. We do respect it, and we had it, and it's gone. Life goes on, darling. Anyway, I want to talk about loss. We lose a lot of things in institution and so forth. This one man said, real loss occurs when you lose something you love more than yourself. I can't fathom now loving anything greater than myself. The greatest self-love mean that you have the confidence and the self-esteem and the dignity to rise above your adversity and your trials and even your loss. Realize that when you lose something, you lose it with great affectations, which may be emotions. It could be a greater or lesser emotion. Depends on the sentimental value of what or who you have lost. But what have we lost in society, American society, et al. The Patriot Act? We have lost civil rights, civil dignities, and civil freedoms. What have we lost? The prosecution of those who trample on it and laugh and escape with knowledge of, and with persecution of people that suffered, under those same rules. Patriot Act, darling. And meanwhile, we stand as patriots and stand for the dignity of the flag and for the freedoms that we represent. It is abominable that the NSA and other key institutions, the IRS, should divulge into people's life and finger point and target people on what a process that should protect and foster and help to inspire our children and our present conditions. Do we understand what it means when this little man is seeking asylum in Hong Kong? What? Does that mean that China is our enemy? No. What does that really mean? It means that this gentleman realized that something is intrinsically wrong in our society and what we're doing and in where he was working. Excuse me. If it had not been so, then his value and his comfort at what he was doing, he would never have been in such a position as seeking asylum. And what are the leaders afraid of? Nothing. They are above being prosecuted. Just today I saw on the internet where somebody mentioned Little Wayne stamped on the American flag. I would not choose that form of expression. I would not. And I would not choose, and the Dixie chick did something also when George Bush was the president, George W. Bush, the second George Bush. And they suffered great loss. But they were trying to tell us that we are losing a battle against our freedoms and the dignity and self-respect as citizens of this country and as forebearers of freedom and democracy of this world. That our democracy is but a mockery. A mocracy. Absolutely. A mocracy. An autocracy of people well connected and well placed and went to the same school. Very much. Very floozy. And here they are telling us that we have to do this to protect ourselves. Are they trying to protect us now, darling? Or to protect themselves? We have lost the ability to understand what the true loss of freedom and the freedom of speech and the freedom of self-expression, the true loss, pardon me, of our privacy and our will to be private citizens in a country. So forth, the army and its scandal and its sex scandal and so forth. This is a maligned tumor in the military and in its structure and in the society. So darling, now that it has come to the forefront of everything, they're all flabbergasted. Well, I am not. I am not. As one person, if you want to really be secure in your military position, you just follow the orders. You don't question. That's okay. But if you're a humanist, if you're a humanitarian, if you love people, you ask, you question, you pinpoint, and you help. Much to the objection of your peers and so forth. Much to intolerance. So much so that you will be criminalized, victimized, be a victim of sarcasm for who you are and what you represent. And what do they look at you as? How do they see you after all of this? Standing up for something that they have become complicit in standard, loss of our civil liberties and our privacy. We're looked upon as people that just didn't fit. Misfit because you're gay, you're transsexual, you're whatever you choose to dress. And misfit because you choose not to rest. You choose not to rest with the losers who subjected you to such demeaning actions, the losers who couldn't stand to protect you when you needed a hug, love, and support to stand. The losers who couldn't stand as friends and family and as people of dignity to certain principles that they decide to uphold. And what is that? What does that mean now to us? Does that make us satisfied or dissatisfied? Dissatisfaction comes in the inability for us to grab what we need from the economy. Are we fat and happy, or skinny and complacent? If we're skinny and complacent, we accept the losses. We become slaves to society. We do not realize what we have had, and then our children lose its benefit. Okay, and so forth. They lose the benefit of that society, of those freedoms. And how does this manifest itself? We have leaders who are status quo, who are rich, fat, and happy. And darling, it doesn't make a damn difference to any of us. Life goes on. Probably we were looking for this black president to liberate us, and yet still I overheard some black people saying this weekend, oh no, he's not as black as we thought he would be. He might as well have been a white man covered in black. That thing with George Bush looking like Obama. Who knows what makeup can do. And darling, such is life. People are looking for this Martin Luther King man that did not stand up for the simplest little things that were trampled on. But Malcolm X was more radical and said there is an inert thing that we need to fix, that religion cannot help. But if we are humanitarians, then religion is obsolete, and then we realize we do not lose the humanity of who we are, and we do not become criminals of our words and to society and the values that we should represent. This is MEZA Grand Duchess Rasmaskone, also known as Ryan Tomlinson. Choose to lose, or choose freedom. Choose life. The Patriot Act is an unpatriotic act. It protects them in power. It protects the real criminals. Have a good evening.